Eagles Talk A2D Radio. It's a happy day today after that monumental and impressive win over the Bengals. We'll talk about it as usual. We'll have Bone on the Birds with us, and we will get to the other Week 8 NFL games. Stick with us. We've got you. Eagles Talk. Let's go.
If you love the Eagles, let me get a hell yeah! You love the Philadelphia Eagles, let me get a hell yeah! Philadelphia!
Eagles Talk ATT Radio. We're brought to you by Baggio's Bread, located in Mount Laurel, New Jersey, home of the best stuffed breads, tomato pie sandwiches, cutlets, and meatballs. Make sure you mention A2D Radio for 10% off your in-store purchase. It's your boy Chucks, it's Briggs, and it is PY. Gentlemen, how happy are you today? What's going on?
I'm ecstatic.
Very happy.
Yeah, I'm ecstatic. It's for the first time in a while. I'm like proud to be an Eagles fan. A long while,
It's a good feeling,
and that's a good thing.
Feeling, yeah, a lot of confidence and hope. PY, you feeling good?
Oh, I'm feeling fantastic.
Awesome. Well, of course you are here, Mister Green, Eagles green color glasses, over there. So, let's get to speaking of confidence and everything. Let's get right to our poll question, our first segment of tonight's show. As usual, this is the most confidence you've had in the Eagles since 2022. Agree or disagree? PY, I know what you're gonna say, so go ahead and say it. We'll start with you.
I say no because I've probably had the most confidence in this team heading into this season. I loved what they did with adding Kellen Moore. I thought he was going to do everything he could to maximize Jalen at his MVP level. I thought adding Saquon Barkley was just going to make this offense that much more special, which it has. It took a few weeks to get it rolling, but no, it's not the most confident I've been since 2022. I was just as confident as I was to start 2023. I probably would have, if not for those final 7 games, to where everyone has to be like, "Oh no, it's over, it's done. It's done for the Eagles. It's never happening again." I understand people's hesitancy because we did have that bad stretch to end the season last year, and it was hit or miss to start the season. But I just don't think it's just magically being put together now. I just think the more reps this team is getting, and the fact that you're having all your heavy hitters on the field at the same time is helping. I think the fact that you have A.J. Brown, you have Devontae Smith, you have Saquon Barkley on the field, and Jalen is able to maximize their skill sets and do what he needs to do to be a successful quarterback and continuously beating the top echelon quarterbacks, whether it's Joe Burrow, whether it's Patrick Mahomes, whether it's Josh Allen. That's what I expect from him. And I'm very confident in this team, but I was confident in this team to start the season. They just took a few weeks longer than I would have liked to get the ball rolling.
Briggs, how about you?
I absolutely agree with this poll, and I'm going to use recency bias as my main. There's been the Buffalo game last year when Jake Elliott kicked that ball in the rain. That was awesome. They beat the 9. They lost 2022. They were rolling, and they came up a little bit short in the Super Bowl. But let's look at what happened yesterday. Jalen Hurts doesn't turn the ball over anymore. That's 3 straight games where he has not turned the ball over. So we'll talk about things clicking on all cylinders. You can look right at number 1 in Midnight Green, because when your quarterback isn't a turnover machine, this team can be very, very, very dangerous. This Cooper DeJean and Quinion Mitchell are at the very least Pro Bowlers. They have completely changed the culture of that secondary, and now everyone's fallen in line behind 2 rookies, including the defensive coordinator. That Cooper DeJean open field tackle on Jamar Chase on 4th and 1, that's an all-pro level tackle stop on arguably the best receiver in the league. And it was a big that just totally stamped out any Bengals hopes of mounting a comeback. And then on top of everything, the light bulb finally came on, and this team found an identity, and the identity is Saquon Barkley and this run game. Everyone out there has been telling them to run the ball, run the ball, run the ball. They did it yesterday. They ran the ball down a professional football team's throat yesterday with a backup offensive line for the most part. Mailata didn't play. Steen was out there for much of the game. Lane missed some time. He was in and out, I feel like. So backups on the offensive line just manhandled first stringers on the Cincinnati Bengals. So you have to be confident. First time in a while that it's kind of like, oh, who's your favorite football team? Oh, I like the Eagles. And you kind of like duck your head. Oh yeah, the team that collapsed last year. Not after that game. And then you got. I think they're going to do well Sunday against the Jaguars. Then we're going to hit the nitty gritty of this schedule. We talked about it in the pre-show. Then it's going to get hard. That's when we're really going to see what this team's made of. If they can beat, play big time football in January and get to where all of us and all the fans of Philadelphia want to go. And that's the Super Bowl. So I'm confident. Most confident I've been in a while.
I hear on that, Brinks. I'm also going to agree to the poll. And for me, it's pretty simple. We have an elite running back named Saquon Barkley. That is why that's why this is the most confident I've been in this team since 2022. We were rolling in 2022, and that level of confidence, it's easy. And I tried to be as objective as I could, taking out recency bias. But all throughout 2023, as much as I liked the DeAndre Swift, he is not an elite running back. Again, I love DeAndre Swift. He's not an elite running back. So the fact that we have Saquon and we're able to do the things that we can do with all of this, it's so crazy. It's crazy. And we a lot of the stuff you said, Brinks, I agree with. I think that we have a team that has found its identity. We have a team that is starting to put things together in the passing game, starting to figure things out. Every week we're seeing more and more wrinkles of the Kellen Moore offense. And we talked about it last week. I know Brinks, you weren't here, so I'll reiterate. There's so much more run designs that are being used.
On your center.
On your center pistol, using Ben Van Sumeren as a fullback, doing outside zone. We ran 22% of our runs for outside zone. That's crazy. Well, I am so happy we finally use outside zone. So that's one. And then the other part of it is we're seeing, ever since the Browns game after the bye, more motion, different sets. It's not just 2x2. We're seeing offset with trips to one side. We're seeing stack receiver sets. We're seeing tight splits. We're seeing so much more just Kellen Moore stuff into this offense. And it's not about Kellen Moore. He doesn't have to be the smartest offensive coordinator in the league. He doesn't have to be a genius.
The reason what the Bears did.
The reason being is because we have so much talent. We don't necessarily need a Kyle Shanahan or a Sean McVay or Ben Johnson type of offensive coordinator or scheme calling these plays. We just need a guy that can be good enough, and the talent will take it the rest of the way. And that's what we're starting to see. So absolutely agree to the poll question. I should have known PY was going to disagree because he's already thinking way above and beyond. He's always going to be super optimistic. So of course he's going to say, no, I don't know. I've always felt like this. Even during the collapse, probably PY was like, oh no, we're still good. So I should have known. Let's get to some of the comments. So Tom definitely agrees. Daly also agrees to the poll. He says the team is getting more confident too, and it makes it easy to be confident. And then we got Mr. Wing asking, why can't the Eagles be the Steelers? Big Ben and the bus.
Sure. I'll take that.
They were yesterday. Like I don't know what you were watching. They were yesterday. They ran it down their throats. They made grown men tap out yesterday.
I think he's saying it in a positive way. It's in like, we can be them. Like we can go on this run and be that type of offense. So
it's run and gun.
No, that's a different scheme. That's not run and gun.
That's not what I meant though.
It's not run and gun. Brian Daly says my biggest issue with this team is Barkley not getting the ball on the goal line. Outside of that, this team is starting to roll. I don't care about that.
Who gives a shit?
I know, like
you gotta throw him. You gotta throw him a bone one of these times, though. Like, come on.
You know what? You get to throw a bone, run it into the end zone when you're there at the 5-yard line.
I'm not gonna go away. I'm not gonna go away from something that works. So if it's working, just freaking keep doing it. Like it's
a 98%.
Get the 2 on the tush push, and then on the third one, maybe let the guy who got you all the way down the field get in the end zone.
Or just okay. You do if it's first and goal at like the 2. Give Barkley or whoever running back, give him like 2 runs. But if it's like 3rd and 1 or 3rd and inches, just freaking sneak it. Like sneak it twice, you're gonna get in. So
I can actually see like their rationale behind not doing that, because we've seen like obviously like Saquon within the 5 is pretty automatic, but we've also seen times where he's been stuffed. Nobody's real like 1st and 2, 1st and 3. Nobody's really stopping the tush push. You're getting that 1 or 2 yards automatic. Like I can't see them stuffing it. I would probably feel more confident with them just doing the tush push. Like I understand people, they want to see Saquon Barkley in the end zone. We all do. But like I'm not going to stop doing a play that's as automatic as it can get just to put Saquon in the end zone. I'm good.
I didn't say to stop doing it. It's obviously an effective play. I want to see the guy who's doing the heavy lifting get some love in the end zone. I do.
That I understand. Yeah, I understand. Like I said, if it's like 1st and 2nd down, yeah, definitely hand it off and see if he can get in.
And like Jalen knows it too. After the 3rd one, he handed Saquon the ball to Spike. Like here, like you.
Yeah.
The work. You
get
the.
That's a fair point. Yeah, that's a fair point. Yeah. Anthony Moore does say there's no really dominant team, but if we can stay locked in, we could be that team. Yeah, absolutely. Like you're starting to see the talent take over on this team. So I think we can be one of the true contenders if things keep going the way they're going and they keep improving.
I think Detroit would argue with that last comment.
Detroit
team's a wagon.
Detroit's been killing.
You need to throw passes in Detroit, just like hand it off.
If the Eagles, Don says, if the Eagles get Dotson involved, man, the offense is going to look crazy. Yeah, and we haven't. That's crazy. I don't even blame Dotson. I think it's just a matter of like, we have no use for him right now. It's like we don't need to use him right now. A few more comments, and we'll bring Mr. Les Bowen in. He says, when we became a run-first offense, we keep winning. Yeah, absolutely. 40 years of fan says keep Hurts under 20 throws. And then I want to go back to a thing here. It says Corey Little says when Jalen Hurts throws the ball under 30 times, we're 15-4. While I want to put this as another disclaimer because
stats lie.
Because again, stats lie. Okay, and I know Les is in the background listening. So,
Les is fired up.
A lot of times those stats can be misleading because if you're winning. If you're blowing a team out and you're up convincingly late in the 3rd or early in the 4th, you're going to run the ball more. And so you're probably not going to need to pass. So that's why those numbers are skewed that way. So
like if you throw it 6 or 7 times in the first half, but every other time you hand off to Saquon, it's a 60 or 70-yard run. Yeah, I hate to tell you, you're probably not going to have more than 20 throws. And that's not to say that he shouldn't get that. Like, if I need to have Jalen Hurts throw the ball 30-something times in the game, I have no doubt that he can win me the game with that, because we've seen him duel with quarterbacks. We've seen him duel with Josh Allen. We've seen him duel with Patrick Mahomes, Dak, etc. Like, he can do that. But if I don't need him to do it, it's not. This is my issue when it comes to the National Football League is if you don't have 30 throws for like 400 yards, it's a bad game. You know what's a good game to me? Getting the W. And you know what? 15 for 20 for like 165 yards and 2 touchdowns. I'll take that all day as long as I win.
Yep. All right,
Jared
Mr.
Goff. Jared Goff had like 12 throws yesterday. They had 52
Yeah.
points.
He might,
Yeah,
right.
we don't do. Yeah, it depends
The
on
better
how
stat, the better stat for that, I forget who commented, but the better stat is something like 19-2 when Jalen doesn't turn the ball over and has like 10 design runs.
Yep.
I don't have it. I don't have it
Uh,
quite. I don't have
yeah,
it quite right. I know. I don't have it offhand, but it's something crazy like that.
Yeah, it probably
I
is.
would imagine. I would imagine. Mr.
Yes!
Ross, how are you?
Howdy, fellas. I'm great. How are you?
We're doing really well.
Spectacular.
We're doing really well, especially since
Yes.
yesterday's
Great game yesterday.
Great game yesterday. So it brings up the poll question, which you want to answer.
Yes.
This is the most confidence you've had in the Eagles since 2022.
Well, I will answer that, but first, let's go back to that stat about being 15-4 when he throws the ball less than 30 times.
Oh yeah,
Well,
yeah. Let me bring that
As
up.
you noted, when you're winning, you run more in the second half. But the converse is also true. When you're losing, you throw more.
Yeah.
And so a lot of the times when he throws it a whole lot, it's because they're losing the game and they're trying to catch up. So, of course, the record is better when he throws it under 30 times. That's probably true for most quarterbacks, if not all.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, that's where stats can be misleading. That's why I always say stats lie. But yeah,
But
go
on
ahead.
on the poll question, yeah, I think so. I mean, the 10-1 start last year, it's hard to remember now where we weren't like, where like the Kansas City game where Valdez-Scantling dropped a touchdown pass and they won. I mean, weird stuff kept happening for them to win. It wasn't like they were dominating teams. It wasn't like I don't think anybody was real. In fact, people were making jokes about it, about how ridiculous fans were that the team was 10-1 and nobody was happy. And then we all saw what happened and we all kind of knew that it was going to happen. But this is nice, having built up to this, to where we are right now. I mean, I don't want to get too carried away. But yeah, I'd have to say that. I really liked yesterday's second half very much. I didn't like the first quarter again on either side. And some people jumped all over me because, well, they scored on their first drive. It just took them until, they scored 3 points, and the drive would make you want to drive needles in your eyes if you really watched it. I don't understand. They scored 3 points. They weren't any good for the start of the game. The defense was horrendous, and for the first two drives, and the offense, kind of stumbled its way down the field. But after that, things were very good, and the second half was as good as an Eagles team has played in recent memory, I thought, in both sides. So yeah, I can say that's the most confidence. But I'm also going to say this: I don't know what's happened to Philadelphia fandom. I mean, people are getting so happy over these couple wins here. I remember the days when I would cover the Eagles, and if there was a couple weeks like these and you had Jacksonville coming up, everybody would be like, well, they're going to lose to Jacksonville. But you millennials, you're just so you get so giddy about stuff, I mean, a true Philadelphia fan would know for sure they're going to lose this week.
Oh my God! I think it's because
is that a prediction, Les?
No, but I wouldn't be shocked. Would anybody be shocked?
No. Well, I'm 35 years old now. I don't know how old my cohorts are. But when the Detroit Tigers swept the Houston Astros out of the wild card round, I just threw my hands up. Says I'm not surprised at anything anymore.
Yeah,
I like nothing surprises me anymore.
Yeah, but I don't. There's no reason to think they would lose to Jacksonville at home. But people are really eager. Because I said some things on Twitter yesterday when things weren't going on early. People's favorite thing to do after things get better late in the game is to go, oh, look at what you said.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Like we all knew the Eagles were just going to blow the Bengals out of the water and everything was going to turn around magically. it does get a little thick sometimes. But
Oh
yeah, I'm very encouraged. I'd have to say.
Les, do we think this coming week is going to be the Dougie Peterson retirement game in Philly?
It might be. He doesn't seem to have any sense of how to fix that down there, and that's a bad operation.
Oh yeah.
And the Eagles have been really lucky with their injuries. Now, this Slay injury, I thought Isaiah Rodgers played really, really well. And I kind of thought going into the season that he was a good player. And, even if Slay is out, I don't think that bothers him a bit. I just think they've had Fred Johnson was tremendous yesterday for Mailata. I know he's not going to be like that every week, but I don't see him really regressing against Jacksonville too much. They've just been that's an impressive thing. That's really something you have to be a good team, and they've had it.
Yeah.
Jacksonville got hit again. Jacksonville got hit again.
Yes.
Came out today that Brian Thomas, the only guy they have that stretches the field, is going to be out for 2 to 4 weeks.
Right.
So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they keep saying that like the tests were positive, so he's expected to practice later in the week. I don't know if he'll be ready for this game. But they said the test team did.
It's dumb if you play him.
They did.
Is this like the Michael?
Back,
is this like the Mike Pittman thing where like they said he broke his back and was going to be out for a while and then he played?
Possibly, I don't know. Yeah, like who knows? But like maybe the tests weren't as bad as they at first thought, but still, it would be probably a stretch to expect him to play.
Now we're talking about Slayer Kirk here.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm talking about Brian.
Brian Thomas, the LSU
Brian
guy.
Thomas.
Oh, Brian Thomas.
Rookie.
Okay, I see.
Yeah. But no,
Christian Kirk's not coming back.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Les. I think that it's for one, I do want to stick up for Slay and say that he has absolutely played very, very well. Again, he's still a good corner, and it's. I'm sure you've seen it, Les. Like the hate for Slay online is
because of his outspokenness. Yeah,
his outspokenness. But
well, they'll have one play where he doesn't do well, like one play where he gets exposed. And then the rest of the game is he's locked down the rest of the game. Yeah. But they don't talk about the rest of the game. They point out that one play and they're like, he went on a podcast with Micah Parsons.
Yeah.
So I do agree that Rodgers, when he's come in, he has played well. And I have more confidence in Rodgers than I do Ringo right now. Ringo has looked shaky in the limited snaps where he has had to play. But if Rodgers is in there, I'm not worried. It's kind of like the same thing with Becton out and then Steen coming in. Like there's hardly a drop off. Mm-hmm. Like they Steen's both. Like, I have confidence in both of them. So it is a good thing to have. It's a nice thing to have that depth. So I mean we've talked a little bit about that. Let's talk a little bit about. I know this is probably the best performance he's had all year. I shouldn't even say probably. It is definitely Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
He didn't throw a lot. But when he did, he looked excellent. I watched the film this today, and there was, unlike last week, there really was no room for debate. He was on point, and I think what stuck out to me was just his ability to stay on time, and he threw over the middle of the field.
Yeah,
6 for 6.
It was incredible, and I think that I broke down. It should be coming out sometime tomorrow, but I did a film breakdown reel for ATD Socials on the Devontae Smith touchdown, which was a great throw, even better catch. But like even outside of that, the third down conversion, this was the other great play. Probably like Hurts' best play of the game was the third and long conversion to AJ Brown, where AJ Brown was the backside receiver. And Hurts went through his progressions on the strong side first, which kind of drew the coverage off of AJ and opened up that window backside for him to hit that dig right for the first down. And it was on time. It was just pure, like everything that we've wanted Hurts to do in terms of full field progressions and then going and getting to his fourth option and being on time and delivering an accurate ball with just enough velocity that was right there. So, I mean, like so many good positives. And I think that, it's very encouraging to see him to settle in. So, quick takes, Les, and then the rest of you guys. What else did you take away from Hurts's performance?
Well, the no turnovers again. I mean, we're now to the point where it kind of is a footnote, but 3 weeks ago that would have been the headline.
Yep.
It's really notable that he has stopped turning the ball over, and it's huge. Even the week before, I think you and Fran Duffy and some other folks kind of gently told me that, he didn't really play that great. He missed a lot of stuff, but he still didn't turn the ball over.
Yeah.
And, I think that's huge. I just think that's, even if he misses some people, even if he isn't great, if he doesn't turn the ball over, they should win most games, almost any game.
Yeah. Yep. I know, Brinks, you talked about the no turnovers. PY, what do you think?
Like these last 3 games has just been so special for him because he's gotten back to the way he needs to play football. If it's there, take it. If it's not, don't force it. If you can run it, take care of it. Like, he's just playing smart football. And he had that quote where he's like, a fool is only a fool if he doesn't learn from the things he learns from. Like, that's 100% factual with him right now, to where he made these early mistakes. It kind of shows that he kind of took the bye to kind of learn from what happened, where he threw it, where he shouldn't have thrown it, how he needs to take care of the football and how he needs to be as a runner.
I agree. Yeah. And it's reassuring because a few weeks ago, he was asked about that throwing over the middle stuff. Tim McManus asked him. Okay. And he gave he acted like he didn't know what Tim was talking about.
You mean a Jalenism?
Yeah. If you really listened to that answer and believed it, you'd be in despair because it's this guy doesn't even know he has a problem. But I think he did know he had a problem. He just didn't want to talk about it, which happens a lot with athletes. But, after seeing him correct it, I'm okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love Van Sumeren at fullback right now. It's so fun that he basically tried to get his number changed, and the NFL's like, no.
Every time I hear the refs announce that he's eligible now, I'm like, if only he could change his number.
I'm like, that's a 10-yard gain right there.
If only the league will let him change his number.
Why can't he change his number? What's the big deal?
It's in season.
You can't do it in the middle of the season. Basically, they didn't realize when they started the season he'd be doing this, and they kept him with 57. He could easily, as a linebacker, have a number in the 40s had they realized this.
But now he wanted to change numbers because if you don't have a fullback-esque number, you have to report to the official every time. And
if he was wearing 49, he could just go in and out of the game without anybody saying anything.
That's just poor on the NFL.
Yeah, but you can't be switching in season. It is what it is.
Yep.
Oh wow, number 57 is 44 now. Such a complicated process.
I think also, which is of course is typical NFL, but they also do it for probably partly because of the merch. I know they.
I doubt there's any Van Sumeren merch, but that's
is.
I've seen one jersey.
There would be some diva wide receiver who would decide in the middle of the season that he wanted to change his number for Gluck or something, or his girlfriend's birthday.
There's an actual football reason for him to be allowed to change his number.
Right. I agree. I agree.
I think it should be allowed if they meet certain circumstances. You know what I mean? If it's a higher profile thing, and it would require or make the player pay for all of the fees from the merch that's already out there that have to be changed. I mean, something like that. I think that would help. But I mean, just outlawing.
We're underestimating the Ben Van Sumeren jersey sales out there at linebacker.
But they get really ticky about that stuff. You remember?
They do. I mean, look at the uniform rules. Yeah.
Refresh my memory. Who was that wide receiver for the Packers who became a running back a few years ago?
Oh, Ty Montgomery.
Yeah. I don't think they liked that he was back there in the backfield wearing 80-something. I think that was some kind of big deal with the league.
Yeah. 88.
Well, do you think Jalen's going to get fined for having two different on that one play?
100%. Yeah. I also think that's going to be the new norm because when the big Philly Twitter artist, he already came out with a design of the shoes from the game, and Jalen, that's his new profile picture.
Oh God.
It's going to be a new trend. You all know it.
Cool.
It is. Everyone's going to have like 2 different sneakers. It's going to be legendary.
It's going to be funny. It's going to be very funny. Make sure you hit that like, hit that subscribe, and follow us. We've got Les Bowen here. We're Bowen on the Birds, coming with us every week. Let's switch it up because we have a few questions on the defensive side. So I want to get to that while Les is here. But the defense, like you said, Les, slow start. They didn't look good. I will say, I personally think that some of those plays was more of a thing of the Bengals just making really good plays and
Yeah, they
playing
did.
well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like not
It's just
all.
what makes this win a good win, because
Yes, yeah,
even though the Bengals are now 3-5, there's some real quality there. I mean, that offense can hurt you. It really can.
yeah, exactly. I was scared. Like the defense was the unit of the Bengals that I wasn't scared of,
Right.
but that offense is still like very scary. Obviously, even without T. Higgins, they have some playmakers, and obviously Joe Burrow, and he was playing a really, really well, like really good game. So, I think that they were just making some really outstanding plays. That touchdown to Chase to start the game was just a great design. Like it was schematically a great play. So I don't like you just tip your hat. But what I love about this defense is, and Fangio has always shown this over the course of his career, he's a type of defensive coordinator that does make adjustments. Like he will go about it and make the changes. And the defense hung in, and we've seen them as the game goes on more times than not. Though I mean, we've had some blunders like against like the Falcons, but more times than not, they hunker down and they will make plays and start to figure things out. So kudos to them. And Anthony Moore, he says the biggest surprise is our defense. Our linebackers are starting to understand the system, and it's not just the linebackers; it's everyone. Back end, we know that Cooper DeJean is playing outstanding. Q has been outstanding all season. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson is playing better now. So it's every single unit. So, before I get to the questions, let's start with you. What is the one thing from this defensive performance that stands out to you the most?
Well, I'll take the easy one. Cooper DeJean, who is now he's only had 3 weeks as a real, what you would say as a starter, whether they're, technically starting in nickel or not. He is number 2 in coverage, according to Pro Football Focus, among NFL corners, and 4th overall, which obviously it's only 3 weeks for him, but still, you can't start out much better than that, I don't think. Yeah. I mean, that 4th down stop, if you remember the situation, things get kind of when you blow a team out, it becomes like, you think you were winning the game 30-0, and you weren't. It was 24-17, and the Bengals were driving, and they had a 4th down, and I thought, oh God damn, they're going to make this, and to make that play he made, that. You could say that was the game-turning play. I mean, you really could.
If that's Maddox, that's a touchdown.
Yeah.
Are the 2 best players on this defense rookies?
Well, Quinyon, he's playing real well, but sometimes his coverage is up and down. I mean, it's great for a rookie corner. He's on the outside, which is in some ways tougher than what Cooper's doing. I don't know that I would say Quinyon's the second best player. I'd have to think about that. You might be right. I don't know. Maybe you are. It's because some of the other guys are way up and way down as well. There's not really a lot of consistency. Because the defense is evolving. It's way better than it was a month ago. So, Jalen Carter's playing pretty well. Nolan Smith is playing well the last couple of weeks, which is, that's for the future, regardless of what happens with the Eagles this season. That's a huge thing, I think.
Yeah. And, talking about Nolan Smith, Martian just asked this question. Les, is Nolan's production sustainable based on his development so far and physique? And to follow up, and we can all answer this as well, while we're on the subject of Nolan, and Anthony Moore did ask, do you guys think we still need a pass rusher? So with those going hand in hand, what do you guys think? Can this can Nolan's production be sustained? And are we still in the market for a pass rusher?
I guess it can be. I'm not an expert on that kind of stuff. I've seen guys with all kinds of different physiques succeed. I thought it was a problem for him that he was so light and so, not heavy up top. But if he can do it again, I mean, I think he's done it against some decent guys. I want to think that it can be. But I would like to see another. Now, you're not going to get Myles Garrett or Max Crosby or somebody like that.
Why can't you get Max Crosby?
Because they're not going to trade him.
They're not going to trade him.
They're not going to trade him?
No.
Well, that's different.
Yeah.
Okay, that's different.
They kind of said that. So
Raiders got a Raider.
But you have to set your sights on some guy that can add to the rotation.
Who is that guy?
I would get
traded
something
for today.
Josh Uche.
Josh Uche. Yeah.
Uche, yes.
I wouldn't have minded him. Would anybody have
I would have
minded
taken him.
No, I wouldn't have minded him. But
6th round draft pick next year? Not even
especially at that
20.
price. Yeah, I mean, the fact that he went that cheap, something tells me this is just a gut feeling. Something tells me we're not going to be trading for an edge player. I just have I feel like with how the line has been steadily progressing, and the fact that I can't really think of anyone else that would fit the bill. Maybe I'm forgetting someone, and if I am, then but I don't think there's anyone really there that would capture Howie's attention enough to trade assets for anymore. So
this is a little bit off topic.
Anyway.
What's that?
I said they'd probably suck anyway.
Yeah.
Knowing our history.
This is a little bit off topic, but people were talking a few weeks ago about some of these other NFC teams being sellers. For instance, like the Rams. Well, if you saw the Rams play the Vikings, and I know the Vikings had just played the Lions 4 days before, but the Rams all of a sudden, with some people coming back, aren't a bad team. And they're not going to hold a fire sale at the trade deadline.
Nope.
I think you kind of have to watch out for that. I think we've kind of made some assumptions on the early season. There's a lot of time left. I mean, San Francisco beat the Cowboys yesterday, is going to get McCaffrey back. I think San Francisco can still beat you, 3 weeks ago, I would have said, well, this just isn't their year. Every week somebody goes down, But I do think it's not just Detroit. I think there are going to be teams coming in down the stretch that you expected to see there originally that are still going to be pretty good. But I think that will affect the trade deadline because I don't think there's going to be a lot of teams that think that they're way out of it or something. Even Dallas at 3-4, they're not out of anything. They're not real
You're
good.
not trading for anybody though.
Yeah, that's what Jerry says. Yeah,
they're not trading for anyone. So.
I think that's the best thing the Eagles have in the division is the fact that Dallas has an 82-year-old general manager.
Yeah, who's senile.
He's just an outdated way of looking at everything.
Yeah. Yes.
Yep.
My favorite thing with him last year was after they made the 2 summer acquisitions, and they're like, "Oh man, Jerry, we gonna go out? We gonna go get some guys? What are you talking about? I made my acquisitions in June."
Yeah.
Yep.
PY,
what
radio?
take away?
Radio?
Yeah.
See him on that radio interview where he's like, "Why are you asking me like?"
What you mean? Ask the questions I want, or you're fired.
Why would you? Yeah, like why would you ask me that? Like,
yeah, he's
crazy.
What about Trayvon Diggs yesterday? So after a game, there's like 10 to 12 minutes after everybody gets in the locker room before they open the locker room. It's supposed to be 10 minutes. Sometimes it's a little longer. During that time, which is generally spent with the head coach talking to the team and guys talking about, stuff they did wrong before the media comes in. Trayvon Diggs comes running out of the locker room to confront a reporter about something he tweeted in the third quarter. Why are you looking at this
Yeah.
right after the game.
Yeah.
You
Just from the
off
top,
field and you're
goes all the
scrolling
way to the
what the
bottom.
reporters said about your play. I mean, if it comes up like on Wednesday, you can say, well, my wife or my agent pointed this out to me. But 5 minutes after the game.
Yeah. Yeah. And I saw the tweet that was in question. It wasn't even anything that
Yeah, it was
insulting
like, what's Trayvon Diggs doing on this
here.
play?
And he was referring to
What
the
do you
lack of
mean? What
effort.
am I doing on this play?
Yeah. He was like, he thought that, and Trayvon was on Mika's podcast and talked about it. And it's funny to me that they both think that he was talking about Trayvon being in man coverage. That's not what he was talking about. He was talking about the lack of pursuit. He slowed down instead of going full speed to tackle George Kittle. That's what he was talking about. I think, again, I'm not a journalist. I'm not a player. I never was one, obviously. But I think that from the outside looking in, it's a bad look because that's what you said, like 5 minutes after the game's ended, like you're on Twitter. And then two, like there's just a better way to address that kind of stuff.
Oh God, yeah.
Like a much better way. I forget his name off the top of my head. I follow him. He's friends with Greg Cosell. He does a lot of film study too, but he had tweeted a story about how he had written an article about a certain play. And you guys remember Evan Mathis, right? Evan Mathis actually personally messaged him and said he had it wrong. It was, he had the technique wrong that he was talking about, referencing to, and they messaged each other and he explained to him the correct, what was actually being taught and everything like that. And
Was
after
it Doug
that,
Farrar?
Doug Farrar, thank you,
Yeah,
guys, thank you. Yeah, and Doug wrote an article with the correct stuff, and it's a good story because it just shows like
right, and that's the way you do that.
That's the way you
Evan
do
Mathis
that, right?
was a really good dude, by the way. He really enjoyed.
Not 5 minutes after the game.
Yeah.
But it's like
Trayvon
it's such.
Diggs, he mailed it in, got caught, and got mad.
Yeah. Yes,
it's typical cowboy behavior after a loss, especially because you know what? I'd be pretty pissed too, is if every time we played the Niners, they just spanked us.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and the comeback and all that. I think it was really.
Was that really a comeback?
I know.
They do it every time.
They had a chance though. They had a chance with 3 minutes left.
Yeah,
it just made it, to me, that makes it worse. If you get blown out, you get blown out. I mean, you don't have anything to say afterwards other than we just aren't good. But if you think that you could have done it and you lose, that third quarter was Dallas has had that happen to them several times.
Yeah.
And that's a real alarm there when you
give
up.
What was really funny? What's really funny about the two teams? Dallas has a knack of getting blown out and then coming back, and then the Niners have a knack of having a big lead and then giving it up in the fourth. So it's kind of like the thing about the immovable object and the unstoppable force. Like, which one's gonna give? And it was the Niners that came out on top. But that's what.
But it's just the Dak formula. Like, it's, as Shannon Sharp says, it's empty calories. Like, oh man, we suck for 3 quarters. Oh, it's time to get those stats up in quarter 4.
Yep.
Hey, I like Wayne Miller's comment there about Calcaterra having a good game.
Yes.
It is very interesting to me. I don't know what to make of it, but it's almost like he gets opportunities that Goddard doesn't get sometimes in the pass game. And I don't know how much that has to do with opponents and who's covering who and all that. But Calcaterra is not you wouldn't want him out there.
He's not a blocker.
17, because he can't block. I
think that's part of it.
You'd almost rather see them move him to wide receiver, but
yeah,
he gets open, man. He gets open. That guy does.
He can move.
It's interesting. It really is. Interesting career he's had. He was an incredibly high-ranked prospect at one time. A guy who could have been like a Kelsey or a Goddard or a Kittle. Had that kind of ceiling as a recruit, but went on a long journey.
Yes. Yep. The injuries is what fall, but like he's doing really well, and it's good because if Goddard comes back, we really can we can use a lot more 12 personnel if needed now. Having
Mhm.
that flexibility, so it's really good. And I like Stoll a lot because he can block. Like he's a good
Yeah.
blocking tight end. He's a really good blocking tight end. Obviously, he's not a good receiver, but now we can see that we had the depth. Now that Calcaterra has stepped up and Stoll is back with us, and offers that blocking tight end ability, and then Goddard will come back who can do both. So it's great to have. It's great to have. I love seeing that Calcaterra stepped up. Before you go, let's get to one more or a couple more defensive questions. Well, I'll just do one more. Martian Lynch asks, Fangio's adjustments, are they more because he's a good coordinator or more about his willingness to cater to the personnel in his defense, like Huff going more 4 points?
Yeah. Well, we're talking about two different kinds of adjustments here. In-game adjustments, that's not Huff going to Huff going to a 4-point stance is more of an overall adjustment in recognizing that the guy needed to do this to be effective. I think what we were talking about earlier was in-game adjustments, how the defense can look horrible the first drive, and then he kind of figures out what he needs to do. It'd be nice if he figured out what he needed to do going into the game, but, you can't have everything. Yeah, I think that's part of being good at adjustments is catering to the personnel in your defense. You can't, in any sport, you can't be a coach who says, okay, this is what I do, and you as a player had better figure out a way to do that. That's just not how sports works at all.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say the two things that he's talking about, I think they go hand in hand. Part of being a good coordinator is catering to your personnel on defense. That's absolutely part of it. So he's a good coordinator because of that. So or one of the reasons he's a good coordinator is because of that. Absolutely. And then they asked this question too. They both have pretty much the same question. So Martian and Anthony Moore. Les, how do we match up against the Commanders? And Anthony Moore asks, are we better than the Commanders?
Boy, that's a good question. Here's what I thought last night. That, as wonderful a play as that was, it was pure luck.
It was. Yeah, absolutely.
They had blown the lead. They had lost the game. And, and the Bears screwed it up. We've all, seen the guy, taunting the crowd and all that stupid crap, and letting somebody leak out behind him, which is really the biggest
his assignment
problem there. But so the Commanders aren't unbeatable or anything, but there's a thing. It's not really momentum. They kind of have a mojo. They're so excited to be good.
Yeah. Yep.
And their fans are so excited, and the players are so excited. They win games, I think, like last night, just because things are going their way, if that makes any sense. And I'm kind of scared of that a little bit. They're going to be that team this year that really flashes, and then next year maybe they won't be quite as good, because it won't be all shiny and new, But right now they are on a roll, and I don't look forward to seeing them. They're not perfect. They're not as good as Detroit. They're probably not as good as a few other teams, but Daniels is certainly for real. And the part of that play that wasn't luck was him when he first started rolling to his right. I thought the game's over because he didn't have anywhere. He was being pursued. He was going to get to the sideline, and you're not going to throw a Hail Mary down the sideline and have it, work. But then he circled around and got free on the other side.
Yeah.
And got the throw off. And that part was not luck. The part where somebody caught it was luck. But, I do think the Commanders are really in that sort of playing with house money mode. They're just everything's coming up roses for them. But it'll stop at some point. They're not going to win the Super Bowl.
Nope.
Yeah, I agree. I absolutely agree. I think that I had a friend of mine said that he's really scared of the Commanders now after that win, and I said like that's a great win, and they are playing
That's
very
one of the worst games they've played.
yeah, they're very confident. But for me, I see it as they can absolutely be had. Like they're not unbeatable. Like you said, they're not like the Lions. They have flaws, and the Bears. It took a horrible performance by the Bears, beating a lot of stuff, like beating themselves in order for the Commanders to do that. So
Yeah, I would have thought the Commanders would have won that game easily at home.
but they didn't. So
Yeah.
Les, thank you so much for your time
Thank
again.
you, guys. It's always a pleasure.
Absolutely, and hopefully we can keep this momentum for the Eagles going next week, and we'll talk to you again after another win.
All righty.
All right, see you on Twitter, Les.
Bye, Les.
Bye, fellas.
It's Les Bowen on the Birds here on Eagles Talk A2D Radio. Always awesome to have Mr. Les Bowen on with us. Gentlemen, anything else from the games that you want to cover? There's so much to talk about, so much positivity. So there definitely has to be some takeaways.
Poor Will Shipley.
Out of everything, that's really what you're going to address. But okay,
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I feel bad for him. Come on.
That's
It's one of
only
the few times he gets in the game and he thinks he scores a touchdown and it gets called back. Come on.
They cheated. He only scored because
Whoa. I don't like doing that word being thrown around. It's not cheating. It's just
it's a penalty. They broke the rules. That's cheating.
it's not cheating per se.
It's the definition of cheating. What are you talking about?
What are your rules? What are your rules committee here?
If you're breaking a rule, it's cheating.
It's cheating.
it's
You
not.
cheated on
No.
Oh my gosh! If you're breaking a rule, it's
the
cheating.
definition of cheating.
I'm from the Patriot school of cheating, where it's not really. Come on.
It's not cheating. Well, if you don't get caught, it's not cheating.
Well, even if you get caught, it's not cheating.
Yes, it is.
God, Ty.
Have you not listened to Belichick?
Briggs? Do you have any other takeaways from this game?
They are going to absolutely annihilate the Jacksonville Jaguars on Sunday.
Sorry,
and it's
Judge.
going to get tough, and we'll see.
Yeah, it's going to get tough.
I don't see this being a problem at all.
No,
run the ball, play defense, get out of there, get that bum Doug Peterson to the retirement home where he belongs because he's not a good.
Don't
coach.
worry. You gotta get him his resume out there.
I don't think he's going to be.
No one's gonna hire that.
No one's
guy.
going to hire him as a head coach ever again.
No one's
Maybe
gonna
as an
hire him.
assistant somewhere.
He should have never gotten hired. The Jaguars should never hire him in the first place.
Who would you have hired instead of him?
Literally anybody else. Literally, like Doug Peterson never was a good coach. He's not a good coach now. Like total lightning in a bottle that he won a Super Bowl here. Total lightning in a bottle. Like he's not a good coach. He's not going to be ready for what the Eagles, him and his staff, are not going to be ready for what the Eagles are bringing to the table Sunday.
I'm just ready to knock the crap out of Press Taylor. I'm excited for that.
That guy, because he hitches his that's why he stinks. He hitches his wagon to these bums and just like thinks they're the greatest thing ever when they stink. Bill Lazar or Laser, whatever his name is, like, he was another one.
I mean, I'm not going to throw shade at Laser or anything, but like if you're willing to lose your job twice over Press Taylor, you probably shouldn't be a head coach in the league.
You're a moron. Doug Peterson's a moron. Plain and simple. This is a roll job for the Eagles on Sunday. They're gonna destroy the Jaguars. Absolutely destroy the Jaguars. Then it's gonna get really hard.
I'm not gonna guarantee a blowout because I don't do that, but I feel more confident about this game than I did going into the Browns game. I'll say that. I think
Big time.
Yeah, I have much more confidence. Even if we don't play a pretty game, even if we play ugly, we're gonna win on talent alone. Like there's no way. Like we're way too talented.
No one at wide receiver.
There's no one at wide receiver for them. There's no one at wide receiver, and their defense isn't good. So I think on talent alone we can win. It would take like a horrendous performance paired with horrendous bad luck for us to lose the game. Which is
like
the prince who would be promised has become the pauper.
What?
What?
Look, if Nick Sirianni is your head coach and you have a head coaching advantage against your opponent, that means
Yeah,
you're in good
that
shape.
that says something, right?
Don't
That
you
does say-
disrespect bald-headed Nick, okay?
That is something. That is something.
Dude, they
Um,
played great yesterday, but Nick Sirianni still stinks.
I think that for me, for yesterday's win, it's also about the fact that, like, if you looked at Saquon's numbers through like the third quarter, yeah, most of the games in the third quarter, like the runs, he didn't break off any long runs, but he had several runs where he was gaining like a good amount of yards still, like 5 yards, 7 yards, like the consistent chunk yards like that, where you're able to grind the ball like that. Um, that helps a lot, and they stuck with it, right? And then in the fourth quarter, he was able to break off a couple of long ones. So that's what's awesome to see, is that even though the big play wasn't there, they stuck with
You
it.
didn't need it.
You didn't need it. You didn't need it. Exactly.
Look, man, when you're getting like 4 yards a carry every carry, like who cares? Like,
yeah, I mean, like they stuck with it, and it's a good sign. I think that also on the defensive side, I loved seeing the linebackers, obviously, but Nakobe Dean is starting to play really, really well several games. And let's put this out there: there were a lot of fans that wanted him benched, a few weeks ago, and I said, let's calm down,
bench him for Trotter.
be patient. So, it's good to see him play well. So I like that. I like seeing that. You guys all hit on the young guys coming out and playing really well. It's really good to see. What I want to see going forward as the weeks go on, and I know we're amping him up because he just got back from PUP, but I want to see more Sidney Brown into the rotation.
No more Avante. Like whatever reps you're giving Avante Maddox, just throw those in the trash can and give them to Sidney Brown.
Well, like I said, Sidney just got back from the PUP. I'm not saying throw him in there full time and have him take over all his reps.
PY.
But
I agree with PY.
I think it's also, it's not about Avante. It's more about, let's make sure Sidney can get those reps and he's not rushed back in. It's the same thing with Cooper. Like, why didn't Cooper play week 1? Because he was hurt. He just got back. He needs time to adjust and to assimilate. So, like, same thing with Sidney. Put whatever Sidney can handle on his plate, but you don't have to rush it. Like, gradually get him into it. But eventually, yes, at some point you want him taking snaps at that third safety spot. So,
yes, please.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything from that, or anything from the week 8 slate of games in the NFL, which there were a lot of good ones. So a lot of really crazy finishes. We already talked about the Cowboys game a little bit. We talked about
Kyle Pitts doing his best Deshaun Jackson impression.
The crazy the Hail Mary. We talked about Commanders and Bears game. Any other games that you guys wanted to touch on?
My Arizona Cardinals are now in first place in the NFC
First
West.
place, look at that. Yep, I didn't think you were crazy. I didn't think you were good. What I like about the Cardinals right now in their offense, this is why I'm now. This is the first time I'm actually kind of hopeful. They started using Marvin Harrison right.
Dude,
like they had been using him. They've been using him mainly as like a on goal balls and vertical routes. They finally started to get him on crossers and using him on those kind of routes. And you saw what he would be able to do. So hopefully they keep doing that. And if they do, I think this offense is going to open up a lot. But yes, it was a good sign. They need to run
all
the ball.
Their wins. They're 4-4. All of their wins have been Marvin Harrison Jr. good games.
And you wonder why, right? And you wonder why. You wonder why that's the case. Yeah. But yeah, Cardinals are looking good. Well, at least in terms of NFC West race. So yes, they're looking.
Yeah, and then I'm not like NFC North took a step back. Matt Eberflus is an idiot. They threw an out. They didn't cover the 13-yard out route that allowed Jaden Daniels to be able to throw the ball to the end zone, and then he goes in the press conference and said, "No, that had no bearing on the game. I don't even know why he would ask me that." Like,
he's very stupid.
And then the Vikings are frauds.
Shocker.
I won't say they're frauds, but they're not. They weren't they're not the juggernaut that like the 5-1
No,
record.
that defense. Brian Flores is a really good defensive coach, but like if they play a offense like the Rams or one of these good offenses with a lot of talent on it, that defense can't hang. I don't care who their coach is.
Ravens losing to the Browns. That's a big. I think they got swept by the Browns now. I think Browns have won both of their matchups. That's bad. I'm not. My faith in the Ravens haven't wavered, but when we talk about division games, this is what I'm alluding to. Freaking PY. Division games are different. You never know what's going to happen in a division game. And the Ravens just lost twice to the Browns. So
I had the Browns plus 8.5 yesterday.
Oh, nice. Yeah, they definitely covered. We talked about the Lions actually annihilating
with the Browns, it's like it's a morale thing. Like everybody in the stands, everyone in the locker room knew they weren't gonna move the football with Deshaun Watson.
Nope.
Now, Jameis Winston certainly has his flaws, but he's a gunslinger. Like he can put up 300 on you in a blink. Now it might be 300 with 4 picks.
Yes.
But he can advance the football down the field. Like they have a chance to gain 10 yards for a first down.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, absolutely. I agree. He's not going to be able to sustain any type of like success. We all know that, but at least he did provide.
You can at least enjoy watching that team with him as quarterback.
Adequate quarterback play. He provides adequate quarterback play. That's what they have. So that's a good thing. I'm looking at the other slate of games. Texans just eked by the Colts. I mean, Anthony Richardson looks bad. And his quote after the game, I don't know if you guys heard, where he said, they asked why he came out. He said, they asked him why he came out of the game for a second. And he said, because I was tired.
Did you see what Steichen said? He's like, he's not going to do that again. Trust me.
I
had high hopes for him, but he's
we all did. Yeah, we all did. We all did, Briggs. So, yeah, we
decent organization that he went to. Steichen, I mean, he made Jalen Hurts into what Jalen Hurts is now, and this guy's bigger and stronger and faster than Jalen Hurts, and he can't
figure it out. Like last year before the injury, he was playing pretty well, and then this year it's just like all go down the window. It's like it's so weird. It's and I'm not giving up. Maybe he still can learn and develop. Maybe
he's only had 10 starts.
Yeah, maybe this is it's part of his growing pains, and so by all means, it's just right now he's not playing well. Right now he's not
clearly soft. I mean, he's always limping around. He's always missing games, and now he's subbing himself out because he's tired.
That's a really, really, really.
That's
really
not a good look.
Yeah, really bad look. Last game I want to just touch on before we head out is Falcons. I think they're starting to find their groove offensively too, and I think they're going to just now that the Bucs have the injury woes that they have, I think the Falcons are going to run away with the division. I think they're good. I don't think the Falcons are a juggernaut in the NFC by any means, but I think they've become a good team. They have weapons. The defense is okay. They're solid enough, but that offense is starting to figure it out. So credit to the Falcons. I think they're going to win the NFC South like handily now. Because it's just that week of a division. So, anything else you guys want to cover?
I'm good.
Awesome. So, guys, great stuff. We're all really happy. It's gonna be a nice week, happy week. After the Eagles win, and then Sunday, hopefully, we get another win. To all of us, all of you people listening in and tuning in, thank you so much. We appreciate their support, and make sure if you hit up Bosjo's Bread in Mount Laurel, New Jersey. Mention us for 10% off your in-store purchase. Catch all the other shows that we have at the station. We got one almost every day for you. And we appreciate all your support that you've given us. Until next week, for myself, Chucks, for Brinks, and for PY, go Birds, and we will see you next week. Peace.